Today, I'm going to talk with you about PMax campaigns and how you can take back control of them using product reports and by creating dynamic segmentations. This is the same kind of analysis we do routinely here at Conversion Giant. However, every client has a slightly different strategy as each advertiser's campaign profile is unique. I'll go through that in more detail in just a second. But first, please like this video and subscribe if you want to see future videos we publish. We talk a lot about product feeds at our agency because it's very important to have a good product feed for many reasons. Just to set the table, let's discuss the problem advertisers face today. Obviously, you have PMax campaigns, and most advertisers do one of two things. They either upload all their products into a single feed and run a single campaign, or they run a single feed and break out several campaigns based on attributes like brand, product category, and performance. The top performer strategy is nothing new, but today we want to look at a modified version of this. We want to create a system for running products that allows us to properly segment them into campaigns or buckets that we can easily control for target ROAS and budgets. Before we jump in, let's take a look at this diagram that was created by Mike Rhodes of Mike Rhodes Ideas, which does a great job demonstrating the different buckets your products might fall into. Looking at this, each section might seem pretty self-explanatory, but let me go into it. First, you have your profitable items because they're profitable, you spend money on them, and you're happy to do so. Then you have items that you spend a decent amount of money on, but they are deemed not profitable. These are what we call costly. Then you have meh. These are items with very few conversions. You don't spend a lot of money on them, on any single one, but you do spend money on them. And perhaps you don't really know if these are going to convert or be profitable because you're not spending enough. And also, they're not converting enough to decide. Then you have flukes. Flukes are products that you did not spend very much on, but they did get one or two conversions for a very decent return. These are ones that you probably want to pay attention to, but be aware that most of these will probably end up being meh at some point. Similar to meh, you have products with no conversions. You spent money on them, but probably not enough to put them in your costly bucket. Lastly, you have zombies. These are products you haven't spent a lot of money on, therefore they have no conversions from your PMax campaigns. They're basically non-existent and don't provide any value, nor do they cause any harm. It's probably obvious by now that in order to reliably put something like this together, you have to have e-commerce conversion tracking hooked up, which reports revenue for each product. Here is a tool we created internally to look at products much easier, but in a minute, I will actually walk you through how to do this on your own so you can understand how the logic works behind the scenes. Here we're using one of our brand new clients that only has a couple hundred SKUs, a very small data set, so that you can easily understand and put this together. As you can see, we have 360 products, total cost just over $11,000, total revenue almost 35 grand, total ROAS 310% with 88 conversions. So again, not the highest performing and not a lot of data, but you can see on the left-hand side that there is actually more gold in here than looking at this in aggregate. So you see there's 8 products that are deemed their highest or most profitable products with a total ROAS of 419% across the board. Then you have your costly products, which are 4 of them that are costing them $1,000 for the time period. Then you have the meh products. These are the ones that are getting 1 conversion. I feel like there's a lot more of these that are typically in an account, but it's better to have less of these because these are the ones that are really hard to work with. And then you have flukes. Flukes are the ones that don't get very many conversions. Oftentimes it's 1, maybe 2, but the ROAS is really great. Then you have zombies. Zombies are products that typically do not convert at all. They don't actually get clicks, so they don't cost you money. They're just in there. And then you have products that cost you a lot of money. In aggregate, they don't get any conversions, but some of them could turn into flukes, so you don't want to necessarily turn them off. You can still do all of this yourself, but it should be done routinely to stay up to date on your product performance. At Conversion Giant, we use automation and AI to put these systems together, which makes the process more fluid and easier to manage routinely. For now, let me show you basically how the system works and how you can create buckets of products. First, you need to pull a report. To pull a report, you can go to the customer report section of your Google Ads account to extract the necessary data. This is the spreadsheet taken from the same client. I am hiding the campaign name and product names, and each line is a product. Let me just say that just because a product might fit into a bucket doesn't mean it gets its own campaign. That's why the strategy based on understanding where your products are at is different for every advertiser. You have to look at things like number of conversions, amount of spend, time frame considered, and the number of products that are either costly or top performers versus not. Step 1, make sure the report you extract has these columns: campaign name, product title, product SKU, cost, conversions, and conversion value. Impressions might be a good column to have just to observe, but it's not weighted heavily in our assessment. You also need to have conversion value over cost. You can create this formula manually or pull it directly into the report. This is the same as the ROAS column, and it's our leading indicator for profitability. Step 2, we want to segment products by the number of conversions. You don't have to have a ton of data. You might look at everything with more than 2 or 3 conversions. If you have more data, you might be pickier and segment with 3 or 4 conversions. We use these numbers because 1 or 2 conversions could be called an anomaly, but more than that can be called a pattern. Highlight products with high conversions in one color, like we did here with green, and products with 1 or 2 conversions, we did one with another color, and we did yellow. Don't highlight any products with 0 conversions. Next, we want to flag products in a certain pattern that don't meet our ROAS target or our ROAS threshold. Here, we chose 200% as our ROAS threshold. Yes, 200% of course is low, but be careful here because not to set the ROAS too high, since you could end up taking budget away from products that drive a decent amount of revenue or assist with other revenue. In fact, we don't recommend using automated scripts. Rather, we want to flag issues before making changes between campaigns. We will do the same for products with a few conversions and flag those that are not profitable. I also like to mark the products that are profitable so they stand out. One more thing we want to do is take a look at the products that have 1 conversion or none. See how much they have spent individually, and then also look at how much they spent as a whole. At this point, it's worth having a conversation about whether it makes sense to keep spending money on those products at all, if there is something we can do to improve the conversion rate of those products, or if we need to drastically reduce how much we spend on those particular products. Here in this sheet, you can see the products I flagged as non or low converting or costly. And then let me scroll down to the bottom. Went a little too far there. These cost the advertiser $3,600, about $3,600, and they only made less than $1,400 on the ad spend. Once you're at this point, there are several things you can do to organize your products into campaigns. Usually just shoving costly products into low performer campaigns won't help it be more profitable, but it may keep you from spending a lot of money on them. Another thing to consider is that if you have a large portion of your catalog with 0 or 1 conversion, you may want to reevaluate those over a longer time frame to see if there is more conversion data. Again, we want to flag products for review before making a campaign change. Even though we have systematized the ability to make dynamic changes quickly, we always want to make sure we are aware of which products move between high-performing campaigns and the ones that might get less money. Google has made this process very difficult, and there are other layers to this, such as channel placements. Google not only serves your products in shopping results, but it can also create text ads, banner ads, videos that it automatically displays within its network. These are things that we would like to see if they are helping the advertiser with their campaign goals. We would especially review this before moving a product from one bucket to another. If you're interested in learning more about how Conversion Giant can help you gain control back of your campaigns, including your search and your PMax campaigns, please visit conversiongiant.com. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for future content. Thank you so much.